All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, want to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. That's Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God. In the name of the Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Right? It's Kazak Magun of the Angels of Yahweh coming at y'all with another lesson, man. Since we got Christmas coming up, I'm going ahead and do an origin story on the truth about Christmas. Bringing out a lot of shit that people don't know about. We just blindly following these traditions that, we don't even know where they root from, where they stem from. We just made them a part of our life and just continued on, blindly following these traditions. And that's not the way we need to be going. That's not the directions that we need to be heading in. Heading to. Right. So I'm gonna start off with a quick precept. Right. This is I'm gonna get John 8:32. Right, this is the book of John. So let me share my screen. Present share screen. All right, this is the book of John, chapter 8, and verse 32. It says, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." Right. So in these times, in these days, right, we got this thing called the internet, right? And before then, even the elders, like, they so mighty, they have books, like they found all these things out doing intense, intense research, combing through them books, all this ancient knowledge. But now, the Lord blessed us with, having the benefit of the internet. Right. And the best thing about the internet, you could look up anything. You could have any source of information right there at your fingertips. Right. So it's not no excuse for us to continue to blindly follow after these traditions when we got all this information, at the press of a button. Right. So why is we celebrating Christmas? They just had, damn near every Christian was in church, this past Sunday that just passed. Right. Then every Christian was in church. All the churches was filled, because them they all believe that, December 25th was Jesus' birthday. Right. That's one of the main reasons that people, follow Christmas. Right. They believe that December 25th was Jesus' birthday. But that's not the case. Right. Because if we go to the book of Luke, right. Let's go to the book of Luke, the second chapter. We can see the time where Christ, Yahweh Shai, or who the world calls Jesus, Yahweh Shai, we can see the time when he was born. Right. This is the book of Luke, chapter 2, and I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, "And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus." Right. This is the Roman emperor, Caesar Augustus. Right. That all the world should be taxed. Right. So he put out a decree to tax the whole world, meaning the known world. Right. Not all the world, but the known world. The province in which all the provinces in which, his kingdom reigned over, that they had to be taxed. And this taxing was first made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria, and all went to be taxed, every one into his own city. Right. And Joseph also, which was the father of Yahweh Shai. Right. That's another topic. Right. And Joseph also went up from Galilee out of the city of Nazareth into Judea unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. Right. It says, "And so it was that while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered." Right. Meaning that it was time for her to give birth and deliver Yahweh Shai into the world. It says, "And she brought forth her firstborn son, Yahweh Shai, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, because there was no room in the inn." Right. And this was around the springtime. This wasn't around December or the winter solstice. Right. They fooled you with that. Constantine, the first Christian emperor, right, the first Christian Roman emperor, he combined He combined some Babylonian customs with some Roman customs, right? With customs of the Druids and the Celts. They combined all of these things, to form this holiday in which people call Christmas. It has nothing to do with Jesus, right? He tried to say, he tried to appease the Christians, right? The followers of Christ, and appease the common folk, the pagan people, right? By merging the holidays together, saying that, okay, we're going to celebrate Christ's birthday on this day, but really it's going to be about this. We're going to be celebrating this, but we're going to tie in a little bit. It's confusion, right? And that's what we celebrate. Well, that's what people in the world, they celebrate today, but it's all rooted in paganism, because Christ was born during the springtime, right? During the spring equinox. And we have proof of that, right? That the taxation time of Rome was in the spring, right? Let me go up. This article is by Paul Lewis Money, right? It was written Sunday, April 5th, 2020, right? And this is from a blog, right? It's a blog spot, right? It says, it says the tax year in the UK starts on 6 April and runs through the following 5th of April. To find out why, we need to go back a long way. So these people, they decided to do history on why tax season is in the spring, right? Tax season is in the spring. That's mainly the main time when people get their taxes. That's mainly where all these tax preparers, that's their busiest. They call that the busy season, right? Because they start taxing, they start doing everyone's taxes during that springtime. From they start around February, sometimes March. You'll get your W-2s, around that time. Then you go, set your appointment. And March, April, you should be getting your taxes around that time. That's the time of taxing, right? Paying taxes and those things, right? So all that stemmed from the Romans, right? It says the Romans, just over 2,000 years ago, in AD 14, the first Roman emperor, Augustus, right? That's who we just read about in Luke. Caesar Augustus, right? It says the first Roman emperor, Augustus, died among many legacies was the calendar we use today, right? So I'm gonna jump down. To Slovakia. To this part right here of the article, right? It says, at that time, the tax year began on that Roman spring equinox day of the March the 25th. It was called Lady Day and was one of the 4 quarter days, right? Right. So of when people had to make payments, right? So during the first month of the year, which would be around March, April, right, in the spring equinox, right, that's when the Romans held their tax period, right? So Christ, Yahushua Mashiach, right, he was born during the springtime. He wasn't born during the December 25th. He wasn't born in the wintertime. It was spring when he was born, right? That's why you read about it when you read in the book of Matthew. I mean, right here in the also right here in the book of Luke, it says, and there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, watching over their flock by night. So the shepherds, they were spending the night in the field. If it was wintertime, they would not be out there. They would not be out there. Right? It's the springtime, so it was feeling decent outside, decent enough for them to, abide in the field with their flocks the whole night, with their sheep. Right? This is the time of the year when Yahushua was born, who the word inwardly calls Jesus Christ. So why are we thinking that December 25th is his damn birthday? It's not his birthday. You know who birthday it is? It's Nimrod's birthday. Right? That's what your Christmas tree comes from. That's what the presents under the tree come from. Right? That's whose birthday was December 25th. Let's grab that real quick. Right? The title of this is from the website BibleTools.org. Right? It says what the Bible says about the Christmas tree. All right, I'm gonna just jump down to this little particular part that I wanted. Right. It says two key figures in the origin of Christmas are Nimrod, a great grandson of Noah. Right. Let's grab that real quick. Let's grab that. We gotta touch on the history. Let's go to Genesis. Genesis, the 11th chapter. I believe that's what I want. Not Genesis 10. Right. Let's go to Genesis 10. Chapter. Right. This is Genesis chapter 10 and Salakia. This is Genesis 10 and I'm going to start at verse 6. It says, and the sons of Ham, which was one of the sons of Noah. Ham was one of the sons of Noah. Noah had Shem, Ham, and Japheth, right? Japheth, right? It says, and the sons of Ham, Cush and Mizraim, and Phut and Canaan, right? And the sons of Cush, Seba and Havilah and Sabta and Ra'amah and Sabteka, and the sons of Ramah, Sheba and Dedan. And Cush begot Nimrod, right? This is the Nimrod that we're reading about, right? It says, and he became a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was called Babel, right? So Nimrod, he was so mighty, he built his own kingdom. It was Babel, which is Babylon, ancient Babylon, which would be which would modern day be Iraq, right? That's where ancient Babylon is, right? Not modern day Babylon, not the daughter of Babylon, but the ancient Babylon, which will be the landmass of Iraq, right? And Iraq and Akkad and Calneh and the land of Shinar, right? So Nimrod, he had his own kingdom called Babel, right? And he was a sick ass bastard, man, right? As we finna read about it, it says two key figures, going back to the article, two key figures in the origin of Christmas are Nimrod, a great grandson of Noah, what we just read. It says, and his mother and wife, Semiramis, right? Semiramis, she was his mom and his wife. Where the hell they do that at? How you marry your mama? You know, but this is what your Christmas go back to. You know, people that did things like this, right? When the Lord, the Most High, he said, learn not the ways of the heathen. That's in Jeremiah 10. We go grab that. But he also had this. Let's go to Leviticus 18. This nigga married his mama. Leviticus 18 and verse 6. It says, none of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him to uncover their nakedness. I am the Lord. So you can't marry no immediate family member. It says, the nakedness of thy father or thy nakedness of thy mother shalt thou not uncover. She is thy mother. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Right? So Nimrod, he married his mama. That showed that he was off. Right? And this is who y'all worshiping when you put that tree in your house. Right? It says, and his mother and wife, Semiramis, also known as Ishtar and Isis. And Ishtar is who y'all worship when y'all celebrate Easter. That's where Easter derives from. It derives from her name, Ishtar, right? And she's depicted as a god with like 20 titties. Like she has like 20 breasts, you know, on her chest. Right? She's a god of fertility, right? It says Nimrod, known in Egypt as Osiris, was the founder of the first world empire at Babel, later known as Babylon. Right? I'm gonna jump down to this part right here. It says, after Nimrod's death, Semiramis promoted the belief that he was a god. So after he died, she said that, you know, that he was a god. Right? It says she claimed that she saw a full-grown evergreen tree. Right? What kind of tree is the Christmas tree? An evergreen tree. Right? So after he died, she said that she saw a full-grown evergreen tree spring out of the roots of a dead tree stump, symbolizing the springing forth of new life for Nimrod. So when you bring that tree into your house, you're basically worshiping the god Nimrod. When your kids, they go and they get on their knees in front of that tree to open up their presents, that's them bowing down to that tree. That's what they doing. These Christmas trees, all of that is symbology, of the worship of the god Nimrod, right? And you might not know you're doing it. You might just say, oh, well, I'm doing it for this reason. I'm doing it for that reason. The Lord don't care. You might just say you eating pork just because it tastes good. The Lord don't care. We got to stop with these practices that we doing and these things that we doing. Once we learn that they wrong, we gotta stop it and refrain from doing them. Right? It says, it says, on the anniversary of his birth, she said Nimrod would visit the evergreen tree and leave gifts under it. So she said on the days of his birth, right, which was around December 25th, right, he would leave gifts under the tree. They say his birthday fell on a winter solstice at the end of December, right? That's roughly around December 25th, right? The winter solstice. So that's who you celebrating today. You're not celebrating Yahweh Shai. You're not celebrating Jesus Christ, because we just read, through history and through the Bible, that Jesus Christ, or Yahweh Shai Mashiach, was born during the springtime. You're celebrating Nimrod. You worshiping Nimrod. You put the tree in your house. You got the wreath on your door. You got the mistletoe in the doorway, and saying that you got to kiss your girl every time you walk under the mistletoe. You don't even know where these things derive from, and you doing them, keeping these pagan traditions, man. Now let's go to Jeremiah. Jeremiah 10:1. This is Jeremiah 10:1. It says, hear the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Who is Israel? The blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We the Israelites. We God's chosen people. And he talking to us, telling us what not to do. Right? It says, thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen. Right? Who are the heathen? These other nations. Right? Don't learn their ways. Don't follow after their gods. Don't do what they do. We supposed to be doing our own thing. That's what got us messed up in this situation that we in today. By doing after what the heathens was doing. Following after their ways. Thinking the grass was greener on the other side. Doing what they doing. Right? We see what they doing, how they worshiping their gods, and our eyes got lit up. And we wanted to go do the same thing. But we got our own God. And our God is the only true one and true living God. But we want to follow after them. And bow down to statues and Christmas trees and put presents under the tree and kiss under mistletoes and sing Christmas carols. We finna get on into all that. It says, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs, meaning the traditions, what they do, the ways that they follow, the things that they keep, right, during these times of year. For the customs of the people are vain, for one cut of a tree out of the forest. Right? So they take the tree. Nowadays, they got plastic trees. Esau, he done made this shit into a damn marketing strategy. He's like, listen, well, if I can make a tree that lasts forever, and I sell it in these stores, the people gonna bring me money. He always thinking about how to get rich, how to make more money, all that. Right? But back in those days, they would actually have to go and cut the tree out the forest. They show that on what's that movie? National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Right? He cut the tree. He went and got the tree. And they brought the tree home and put it up in the house. And the damn tree had squirrels in it, and squirrels running all through the house. They scared. That's what happens when you follow after these traditions of men and the traditions of the other nations. They say, for one cut of a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe, right? Meaning a lumberjack. He cutting the tree down so you could take it home and put it up in your house. And the tree don't stand up by itself, but you treating the tree like a god. You treating it like it's Nimrod. You standing it up, you decorating it, you putting a star on top of it. All these things is what they used to do. It say they deck it. What's that song? They say deck the halls with bar. You know how they got the songs and all that. They deck it with silver and gold. That's the streams. That's the ornaments. Them red ball things that they hang on there. The candy canes that they put on the tree. The sparkler and the glitter and all that. And them damn Christmas lights. The Christmas lights, they put that on there. The Christmas lights and the ornaments, that replaced the silver and the gold. Because back then they actually put the actual silver and gold on there. But now they replace it with just Christmas lights. It say they fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. They put it in the corner of the house, right? And they got the feet. They call it feet, right? And they put the tree in the middle of that feet part so the tree stands straight up. Because it can't stand straight. You just ripped it out the damn ground. They deck it with silver and gold and fasten it with hammers that they move not. They are upright as the palm tree, meaning they stand straight up. It says, but speak not. Because people treat it like it's a god. They put gifts under it. It's not a god. It can't speak. It can't do nothing. Right? It said, but needs be born, meaning they got to be carried. Because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them. For they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good, right? So it can't do nothing for you. The Most High said, don't worry about these customs. Don't follow after the ways of the heathen. You know, we got our own ways. We got our own feasts that we do, man. Right? We got our own feasts that we keep. Let's go to the book of John, right? You got brothers that's keeping the feast of dedication, the Hanukkah right now, right? They keeping it. It fell on the same day as this damn wicked ass Christmas day. The other brothers that's keeping the feast. I had my Hanukkah last month, right? It was during Thanksgiving, right? Another wicked ass holiday, right? But this is John 10 and 22. It says, and it was at Jerusalem, the feast of dedication, and it was winter, right? So the feast of dedication is during the winter. Right, and that's a mighty feast day. That's a feast day according to the Lord, right? Where we fought them wicked ass Greeks and got the temple back and rededicated it back to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Right, that's a feast day that you need to be keeping around this time, and not Christmas, because that's a day of the heathen, and it's a day of pagan idolatry, right? Okay, exit out of that. Don't need that no more. Right, so like with this God, let me just go to this is the origin of Christmas right here, right? Let's go up. This is what they did. This is what your Christmas comes from. It was called Saturnalia back then, right? Back then, your Christmas was not known as Christmas, right? It was called Saturnalia. Salakia. Right, it was called Saturnalia, right? And this article is from museumhack.com. It says, remembering Saturnalia, the badass ancient Roman precursor to Christmas. And you know, Edomite wrote this. They talking about it was badass, right? That's how they be telling you, yeah, it's badass, man. It's badass. Like, shut your damn heathen mouth up, man. Right, this is written by Haley Milliman, right, in 2019. It says Saturnalia, the ancient Roman precursor to Christmas, was basically like the best holiday party you've ever been to, times a million. It was actually kind of similar to the Purge, except instead of everyone going nuts and murdering each other, they abandoned social order to drink and make merry. Right? So she said it was kind of like the Purge, but instead of it being like the Purge, you know, everybody was just drinking and everything was out of order. Like that movie, what's that movie called? Project X. It was like Project X, but times a million, they said. It says, while we don't celebrate Christmas with wine-induced orgies, right? So this is what they did during this, the origin of Christmas. They had orgies, meaning wild sex parties, right? They having it. The origin of Christmas is a damn Diddy party. It's a Diddy party. That's what they was doing. The same thing that they was doing at them Diddy parties is what Christmas started off of. Right? It says wine-induced orgies. We have carried over a lot of Saturnalia's traditions into modern day. Modern day what? Christmas. Right? Because in Saturnalia, what they did, they gave gifts to each other. You had people, committing fornication, having sex with each other, men with men, women with women, adults with kids, with little kids, because that was big in the Roman world. They was doing all that. People having sex with animals. They was just getting drunk and just doing whatever they wanted to. Whatever felt good, whatever was a good idea, they was gonna do it. Right? Let me go up. It says, let me see, where did I want to go to? Right, so these are some of the traditions of Saturnalia. It said it started as a farming ritual where farmers will offer gifts and sacrifice to gods in the celebration of the winter solstice and the winter planting season. Right, those early rituals morphed into a holiday with the real name Saturnalia, which honored Saturn, the Roman god of agriculture. Right, so it started off with farmers, and they called it Saturn. Saturn was the Roman god of agriculture. I got an article pulled up on Saturn right here. Right, this is Saturn right here. Right, this is a depiction of him. Right. He's a Roman god. It says Saturn was a god in ancient Roman religion and a character in the Roman mythology, right? He was described as a god of time, generation, dissolution, abundance, wealth, agriculture, periodic renewal, and liberation, right? Saturn's mythological reign was depicted as a golden age, right? He was conflicted with the Greek titan Cronus. Saturn's consort was his sister Ops, with whom he fathered. So he married his sister. All these heathens, like I'm noticing a trend with these heathens. They all marrying their family members. It's crazy. I gotta go back to it, man. Right? I'll go back to it. Leviticus 18. Right? Leviticus 18. Right? In verse 9, the nakedness of thy sister, the daughter of thy father, or the daughter of thy mother, whether she be born at home or born abroad, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover. So you can't sleep with your sister, man. Right? That's wicked. It's like you're going back to the article on Saturn, though. It says his consort was his sister Opus, right, with whom he fathered Jupiter, Neptune, Pluto, Juno, Ceres, and Vesta. And they named these gods after the planets, right? Because they worship the signs of the sky, right? That's why the Lord said in Jeremiah 10, going back to that. That's why the Lord said this in Jeremiah 10. It said, learn not the way of the heathen and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. Don't worry about what the hell is in the sky. Don't worry about what's in the sky. You got a God that's able to be everywhere at once. Don't worship what's in the sky. Don't worship the sun like the Egyptians. Don't worship the moon. Don't worship these other so-called planets or these stars in the sky. Don't worship them. That's what the heathen do, not what you do. Right? These constellations, Orion's belt, and all that. Don't do the Lord created all those constellations. Right? When you go to the book of Job 9 and verse 9. Right? This is Job 9 and 9. It says, I'm gonna go up. it says, it's like I'm just go to verse 9. It says, which maketh Arcturus, Orion, and Pleiades, and the chambers of the south. So the Lord created those constellations, right? He tells it in verse 7, it says, which commandeth the sun, and it riseth not, and sealeth up the stars. So the Lord could cause solar eclipses. He can make the sun not rise. He can make the stars not be out there. He can make the moon, do what he wanted to do. The Most High controls all of that. But these heathens, they worship those things. They worship the creations. We was given the creator to worship as Israelites, right? It's so it say he fathered Jupiter, Neptune, Pluto, and going back in history, like let's go to the book of Maccabees, right? To the book of Second Maccabees. The Romans, they really believed in these gods, man. Second Maccabees, the 6th chapter. They really believed in these gods. Second Maccabees 6, and I think I want like what's that verse that I want? Here we go. All right, Second Maccabees 6 and 2. I'm gonna start at 1. It says, not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and to not live after the laws of God. Right. So they wanted us to leave from our ways and our traditions and live after theirs. Right. It says, and to pollute also the temple of Jerusalem and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympius. Right. So they wanted us to call our temple the temple of Jupiter Olympius, right? After they got, right. It says, and that in Gerizim of Jupiter, defender of strangers, and they did desire that dwelt in the place, right? So they wanted us to call our temple after they got Jupiter, right? You also had, they was calling Paul and Barnabas Jupiter and Mercurius, right? Let's go to that. I think that's in Acts. Is that Acts 14? No, Acts 14 is when they were selling the goods, I believe. Oh, no, Acts 14 and 12, right? Is that where I want to start? This is the book of Acts chapter 14 and verse... I'm gonna start at 11. And when the people saw that what Paul had done, I'm gonna jump up to verse 9, right? Verse 8. It says, and there sat a man at Lystra, impotent in his feet, being a cripple from his mother's womb, whom never had walked. So this man, he was born to not be able to walk. He was born, a lame. That's what they call a lame, a person that can't walk, right? He was born a cripple, right? Paraplegic, right? It says the same heard Paul speak, who steadfastly beholding him and perceiving that he had faith to be healed, said with a loud voice, stand upright on thy feet. And he leaped and walked. And when people saw what Paul had done, they lifted up their voices, saying in the speech of Lycaonia, the gods are come down to us in the likeness of men. So they thought that Paul was a god. Paul and Barnabas, they thought they was gods because they did this miracle. Right? It says, and they called Barnabas Jupiter and Paul Mercurius because he was the chief speaker. It says, then the priest of Jupiter, which was before their city, brought oxen and garlands unto the gates, would have done sacrifice with the people. Right? So so they was calling them, Jupiter and Mercurius. The Romans really worshiped these gods. They really did. Right? But going on Saturn, it says Saturn was especially celebrated during the festival of Saturnalia each December. Right? So Saturn, he was celebrated during Saturnalia. Right? The festival is named after him. It says perhaps the most famous of the Roman festivals a time of feasting, role reversals, free speech, gift giving, and revelry. Right. So that's where the gift giving comes from as well. Right. Like I said, they combined all of these, pagan traditions into one and gave you Christmas. And that's what you're celebrating today. Like a damn fool. It says the temple of Saturn in the Roman Forum housed the state treasury and archives and the Roman Republic and the early Roman Empire. The planet Saturn and the day of the week Saturday are both named after and were associated with him. Right, so that's crazy too as well, because I keep the lunar Sabbath. Right, I used to keep the Friday Saturday Sabbath until I came to the tradition. Until I came to the realization that Friday and Saturday is not in the Bible, right? And it just said right here that Saturday is named after the god Saturn. Like, that's crazy right there. That's nasty work, but no disrespect to, the brothers that's, keeping the Friday, Saturday Sabbath, as long as you keeping the Sabbath, but yeah, that's crazy work right there. But, so yeah, that's the god Saturn. And let's go back to this article on remembering Saturnalia, right? It's another point that I wanted to touch on. I think that's what I wanted. It says Saturnalia feasts were out of control. Think of the most out of control holiday party you've ever been to, and then multiply that by 10. You might just approach the level of epicness that happened at Saturnalia, right? So they was reveling, drunkenness. Let's go to first. No, let's go to Titus. I think that's Titus 3 that I want. Right, let's go to Titus 3. And I think it's 3 and 3. Right, it says, for we ourselves also were sometimes foolish, disobedient. Is this what I wanted? I don't think this what I want. That's not the one I wanted. This one good too, but I don't think this the one I wanted. Right, let's go to what's that I wanted? Timothy 4 and 4. Oh wait, no, that might be Peter. It's like you. Peter, right? This is 1 Peter 4, and I'm gonna read this in the NLT. So they're in the NLT. See how I changed the Bible. And, NLT. All right. 1 Peter 4, and let's just start at 3. It says, you've had enough in the past of the evil things that godless people enjoy. So it's calling them godless people. It's from the say what they do. It says their immorality and lust, their feasting and drunkenness and wild parties. Why is he naming all these things? Because this is what the hell they were seeing back there when the time of Saturnalia came. Our forefathers lived during these times. They lived during Paul, Peter, John, John, Salakia, Andrew, Matthew, all of them, they lived during these times. They seen these festivals. They seen these riots. They seen the drunkenness. They seen the lewd activity. They seen the sex parties. They seen the pedo stuff, the ped stuff, right? They seen it, man. The orgies, they seen all that. It says, It says, you have had enough in the past of the evil things that godless people enjoy, their immorality and lust, their feasting and drunkenness and wild parties, and their terrible worship of idols, because all of that is consumed together in the origin of saturnalia. It says, of course, your former friends are surprised when you no longer plunge into the flood of wild and destructive things they do, so they slander you. So when our forefathers, when they withdrew themselves from the world and came to the knowledge that we the Israelites and that we got to repent and keep God's commandments, when they withdrew themselves from these things, right, they friends was looking at them crazy, like, nigga, you ain't trying to go to that party tonight? I know what's the name, woo finna be there. I'm finna get my whoop. You know, that's how they looking. And our same friends, they say these same things today, man. You ain't going to the job Christmas party? We finna get drunk. We finna go crazy. You know, what's the name been there? Your work wife go be there. She gonna be there. What you gonna do? You gonna make a move? Tonight gonna be all night to make a move. Like this what your former friends and the things that you did in the world. That's what these things, you know, these are the same things. We're going through the same times that our forefathers had to go through, withdrawing ourselves from these things, right? And a lot of people, they not going to be able to withdraw themselves because they weak. They weak. They choose to let the influence of the world, you know, get to them, and they crumble and they fall back into it under peer pressure, right? Let's keep going, though. It says, Saturnalia was 7 straight days of debauchery. Like, what is debauchery? I gotta Google that. All right, what is debauchery? All right, yeah, debauchery. It says, wow. Debauchery, extreme indulgence in bodily pleasures, especially sexual pleasures. Behavior involving sex, drugs, alcohol, etc., that is often considered immoral, right? So they doing things that's immoral up in there. Like they doing, you know, so-called sex practices that's, you know, wouldn't even be seen as normal in there. And that's why we know that these people was the Edomites, right? Let's go to Hebrews 12. Hebrews 12 and 16. It says, so like, is that what I wanted? It's like, oh, I'm still on the NLT. Goddamn. All right, let's go back to the KJV. All right, this Hebrews 12 and 16. It says, lest there be any fornicator or profane person. So Esau, it says, as Esau, right? So Esau is a damn fornicator and profane person. He fits the perfect description of debauchery. He fits it. It says, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. How many so-called white people you see in the news every year that's going to jail for, you know, sneaking on somebody's farm and having sex with a horse? You know, doing some weird stuff like that. You know, you just had some cops. Some cops just got convicted. You know, they got to serve time for they busted into these two brothers' house with a fake warrant. It's 5 white cops. They busted into 2 brothers' house with a fake warrant and you know, basically violated them sexually and doing other things other things of torment to those brothers for fun. All on body cam footage. Right? So that's what they did during Saturnalia. They practiced all that debauchery. Right? It says, like we mentioned earlier, each household had the Saturnalious precepts to create chaos inside the home. Then there were public feasts and celebrations that everyone could attend. People would stay out late into the night drinking and partying with their friends. Right? So, yeah. So this is what y'all celebrating, man. This is the origin of these things that y'all celebrating. Y'all, before jumping into things, you should really, you know, look into what you're celebrating, right? Even with Christmas caroling, right? This is another article I wanted to get into. Right? The origin of, you know, what the Christmas carolers used to do back then. It says, Let me go to the top. It said in the 1700s, carolers would sometimes break down doors and demand food and drink from residents. Right, so they come into you think they come into your house just to sing songs? They finna break down your door and do all kind of things to you, like them sodomite men tried to do to Lot and the angels. Right? It says singing carols door to door may be an innocent holiday diversion today, but it was once a controversial and potentially dangerous practice. Right? So right now it's normal today. You look outside, somebody singing outside your door. They expecting you to get them some money or something, something like that. But back then they had crueler intentions than people that were singing. Right? It says in a piece for Salon, author and historian Thomas Christensen recounted how the carolers or whistlers, right, of the 17th century would arrive at homes unannounced and demand to be given the residents' finest food and drink. They would sometimes threaten violence and, that R word that rhyme with grape, right? Because I can't say it because of YouTube guidelines. They threaten violence and grape, right? Destroy property and sing songs with lyrics such as, "We've come here to claim our right. And if you don't open up your door, we'll lay it flat on the floor." Right? So it says one minister in the early 1700s railed against the observance of Christmas and especially the practice of caroling. He complained that caroling drove people to rioting, chambering, which is fornication, and wantonness. Right? So these is the origins of your Christmas. The caroling, the tree, the mistletoe, the gifts, right? December 25th, the day, right? The God that you serving, right? The practices, right? These are the origins of your Christmas. This is what you celebrating today, man. Right? This is what you celebrating today or tomorrow, right? Because Christmas is tomorrow, right? But I just wanted to give y'all a quick lesson, man, on the history, the wild history, give y'all the truth on the origins, right? I'm gonna grab one last precept. I got one last precept before I close out. All right. But Lord willing, you was edified though, and Lord willing, you understand more about what you're doing out here in this world and how everything has a dark origin to it, right? Laptop acting slow. Right. This is Jeremiah 6:16. All right, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 6, and verse 16. It says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way." So the Lord is telling us to stand in the ways and see. Look at these, like imagine you in a crossroad. You're looking at the way you're going, following after these Christmas traditions and these holiday, season or whatever you're doing, right? The ways of the world. You're looking at that, right? And see where it's heading you, where you're heading to. You're heading to damn destruction. That's where you're heading to, right? You got to ask for the old path, right? That path, that old path, it got dust on it because ain't nobody walked on it, right? Ain't nobody walked on it since then. Everybody following after the ways of the world, right? But the old path, you need to return to that. And what's that old path? The Most High God's laws, statutes, and commandments, right? Following after Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, after our own traditions, after our own culture, right? Let's stop following after the heathen culture and follow our culture, right? Stand in the ways and see and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. It's saying if you walk in God's way, the old path, you gonna find rest for your soul. Niggas ain't got no rest on Christmas. Niggas out here broke because they spent all their money on gifts. They spent all their money trying to please somebody, trying to please their kids and all that. You broke, you're not finding rest. Now you got to put in all this overtime next week to catch back up. You late on your car payments. You late on this. You late on that. Probably ain't even got a car, but you made sure you got $800, $1,200 worth of presents under the tree so the kids can be smiling. Man, and that's when you're supposed to say, man, F them kids, man. I'm finna take care of house and home, make sure we got what we need to be straight, and follow after Yahweh Bashim Yahushua and save me some money in my pocket, right? So with that, I'm gonna give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Lord willing, you was edified through the Spirit. It's Kazak Magun of the Elders of Yahweh coming at you with another lesson. I might come back with another lesson tomorrow, touching on some hot topics. Like you got these drones, you got Travis Hunter girlfriend, the brother being completely naive out here. He needs some game, and the best game comes from the Bible. We gonna break that down tomorrow through the Spirit. And some other things, man. We gonna go into hot topics. So, Lord willing, you was edified. I'm gonna say, Kom Yashala Shalom.